This video is about giving current and prospective MBA students a sane perspective. It's not about arguing that you should or shouldn't do an MBA. It's about giving you a few tools and some pieces of information so that you can think for yourself. We're going to do three things. We're going to discuss, generally considered problems with the MBA. We're going to discuss the value of the MBA, and then I'm going to give you a brief framework for thinking about whether or not you should do an MBA. So first, the issue came up recently in December when Elon Musk said something to the effect of, MBAs crunch numbers, lack creativity, and don't understand products. I'm completely paraphrasing that, but honestly, that's the gist of what he said in his interview. If I continue to paraphrase, essentially what he's saying is this: oh my God, people, there are a lot of a-holes that run companies. Some of those a-holes are MBAs. Therefore, some MBAs are out there ruining companies. But that's the nature of statistics and the law of large numbers. The question Elon was raising is whether or not the MBA training regimen causes this sort of behavior. Clearly, I think that's not the case, and I lay out the source of MBA Value later on in the video. Because at the same time, there is an MBA out there that just instituted a turnaround at a failing company. There's another one that just put together a massive renewable energy project. There's another one solving literacy issues at a string of charter schools. He's the greatest serial entrepreneur of all time. But when he criticizes business schools, it's a bit like an NBA player criticizing a junior varsity basketball team. Some people have innate talent, some people learn their skills on the job, and some people learn their skills in school. So first, one issue often brought up as a problem is the cost of the MBA. Some of the educational components of an MBA can be replicated fairly cheaply. So for example, ever since MOOCs came about a little over a decade ago, there's been a lot of hand-wringing about, well, wait a minute, can I get a course for free that teaches me, where appropriate in terms of hard skills, such as basic accounting knowledge, where appropriate to teach you the skills that you would learn in business school? It's, somewhat true. But the argument's not new. Years ago, we would have had the same debate about community colleges. Community colleges do a great job educating people for very reasonable costs. So one near me, Northern Virginia Community College, charges only $2,700 per semester, or only $180 per credit hour. These are fantastic value. So again, some of these hard skills that an MBA program is teaching can be replicated in a cheaper educational format. But that's not the whole portion of an MBA, and we'll discuss it more holistically here in a few minutes. One of the other common problems brought up about MBAs is the lack of specialization. The MBA degree is meant to be a pretty generalist degree. So no matter how many electives that you take in a particular area, say artificial intelligence or data analysis, your companies aren't going to let MBAs usually write the code for those programs. So I don't care how good your R or Python coding skills are, they're usually going to let the engineers and PhDs that they've hired specifically for this tasks write those codes. MBA students may very well work with these kind of specialists on their team, but MBAs aren't being trained in a specialist capacity. So the MBA program is a generalist degree. And so when we talk about the value of the MBA, we're essentially going to take what we've just discussed and flip it on its head. So the first one is the MBA is a generalist degree. That's great. It is still the only professional degree in business that promotes a broad disciplinary or interdisciplinary understanding of business as a whole. It is about integration. It's about holistic thinking. For example, holistic thinking is great for senior management. And Tesla, despite Elon's protestations about the MBA, employs just about 1,000 MBAs, including in most of their senior management positions. Amazon, likewise, a much bigger company in terms of employment, and one that has focused on MBAs for programmatic management, product management over the past 20 years, has 27,000 MBAs in their company. So, who knew? Pretty good trivia as well. So again, essentially, the value to the MBA is that your company is not going to let you write artificial intelligence code. They're not going to let you write R analysis, and that's a great thing. That means that you'll have more time to manage value creation for your product that you're creating. So, being a product manager, being a general management trainee, these are some of the best paths to senior management over time as your career grows, and not getting caught up in specialist work can actually let you focus on developing those integrative skills. I think it's fairly common to break down what I'll call the hard value of an MBA. The generally accepted components of that are obviously the education. So the first source of hard value is education. And again, that's about integrating. So take your specific disciplines: finance, accounting, marketing, management, strategy, data analytics, a host of others, and you will put those together. So I learned more in my first semester of my MBA program than honestly I knew about organizations or business in my entire life. I was 28, and 14 weeks I learned more than I had in 28 years prior to that. And that was because of this integration component: accounting, microeconomics, finance, marketing, and management, all in the first semester. So it nearly kicked my butt, but it was well worth it. So again, emphasizing that this is a synthesis degree on the education side. Number two is the value of your network. So again, people discuss this frequently, and the value of your network changes over time. It's a very amorphous asset. It's an asset that exists, but you have to maintain it. You have to be in touch with your classmates, and you have to know that the day you graduate, the network has a very, very different value. But it changes over time. After, say, 5 to 7 years, your friends may be in a position to recommend you for parallel jobs at their company. The third value is career services. This isn't something that I'm as familiar with, but the career services, especially for traditional MBA hires, can bring a great deal of value to an MBA applicant's career. The last one is the most obvious. When you're done with the MBA, you get an MBA degree, and you get to put the school's name on your resume. So the brand reputation of the school and the degree itself are hard value components. And again, this value changes over time. If it's a professional degree, so you have to practice it for it to be valuable. The final question is this: should you do an MBA? I'm going to give you a quick 5-step framework for analyzing this. The first one is asking if you're passionate about business. So you don't have to be passionate about every business discipline. A lot of people may not end up being passionate about their accounting classes, but accounting is critical. It gives you a wonderful foundation for understanding business. So let's say you're not passionate about accounting, but let's say that you are passionate about marketing. You want to make sure that you're passionate enough about marketing so that you're enthusiastic about your overall training regimen, so to speak, during your MBA program. Number two, generally speaking, you want to achieve your career goals primarily through existing corporate structures. Traditionally speaking, the MBA degree has been a feeder for upwardly mobile corporate positions. You may be familiar with this, whether from your friends or from the media, in terms of Deloitte, Amazon, JP Morgan, Procter & Gamble for product management rotations. And that doesn't mean that the MBA program can't have value for other career paths. So I have friends from my MBA program who are superintendents of charter schools, principals of charter schools. They are senior inside non-governmental organizations. They work for quasi-governmental organizations like the World Bank. They work inside government. They've been appointed to political positions. They have worked as entrepreneurs. So these other paths certainly exist, and you just want to do a little more research to see how that path may be valuable for you. Number three, and I put this number three on purpose, it is not the first thing you should be doing when considering an MBA. You want to see if you're passionate enough and if it actually is going to help your career first before you even take a look at the numbers. So the third thing is to see if the numbers make sense. But more or less, you want your expected salary increase plus this intangible element of what you could gain from perhaps a faster growing career after your MBA program. And to make sure that that is significantly above the total cost of the program, and I'll break that down on the next slide, plus interest. You'll be carrying 5% interest or something like that as you pay off your student loans. So you just want to make sure that that left-hand side of the equation is definitely higher, say over a 10-year basis, than the right-hand side of the equation. So the total costs. Total costs absolutely include opportunity costs. Anyone failing to include opportunity costs is making a decision from a very poor foundation. For full-time students, you have to consider the tuition, your cost of living, and the 2 years of work experience that you would be giving up. I'm not saying anything crazy here. Everybody says the exact same thing. So consider all three of those costs when looking at the overall cost of doing an MBA program. If you're doing a part-time, evening, weekend, or online MBA, it's a little easier. You just simply have to look at the tuition costs, but you also have to consider the opportunity cost of your time commitment. So remember that all the time that you're spending on Saturdays and Wednesday nights until 10 o'clock could be spent working at your current job, working on an entrepreneurship project, your side hustle, or simply spending time with your family. And the last one is, again, it's very intangible and hard to work through. This is up to you to figure out in terms of your research, but can an MBA program open up opportunities that are valuable to you that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise? So consider what a 5 to 10 year growth horizon looks like for typical MBA graduates from your program with your particular interests upon graduation. From my experience, everything here is an honest reflection. I did an MBA program as a part of my professional development, not at all related to my PhD program. So these are all honest reflections. When I did my full-time program, I had the full range of emotional experiences that many people get in the MBA programs. I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was an awful idea. I was sad. I was happy. I was excited about my career prospects. I was sad about my career prospects. So the whole gamut. For me, I think it was extremely valuable. I did successfully execute a career switch, where I didn't see a lot of potential for my long-term career in the media industry into finance, where things were, where my career path was a bit better laid out. Now, ultimately, I chose to go back into academia, so that's neither here nor there, but I want to point out what happened to me in my MBA experience. So overall, don't listen to the noise. Think for yourself when it comes to considering an MBA decision. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. And if you leave a comment, which I encourage you to do so, please remember to keep comments civil and in good fun. Elon Musk evokes lots of strong emotions, so I really hope that these comments don't turn into some odd, flamey battleground. Thank you so much for watching.